Amanda. I don't see Amanda around. Al-Shaday.
Here.
Mayura. I don't see Mayura either. Albert.
Here.
Gerardo.
Here.
Okay, Fernando, I'm here. Brian.
Here.
Celeste.
Here.
Yeah. James. I think that he hasn't connected yet. Jonathan.
Here.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Oh, Amanda?
Hi, yes, I'm here, Fernando.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we have quorum. We have almost everyone. Yeah, we are just missing Mayur, I think, and John, and James. But we have quorum.
All right, thank you, Fernando. So I'm calling the board meeting, the October 6th, 2025 board meeting of the Latin American Montessori Bilingual Public Charter School meeting to order. First item is to approve our previous board meeting minutes, which was back in August, I believe. So could I get well, first of all, any questions or comments about the minutes? Okay, if not, could I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve the prior meetings minutes.
Can I get a second from someone?
Second.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Any questions or comments about today's agenda? Okay, if not, could I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting.
Second.
Okay.
Anyone opposed? Okay, great. Jessica, looks like you're up to bat.
Thanks, Daryl. Good afternoon, everyone. And really, Chris is up to bat because we have just a short little clip. We just want to honor and celebrate because we are in the month of Latino or Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month. And so we captured a couple of activities at LAM that we wanted to share quickly with you. So thank you, Chris, for making that happen. And we just wanted to take a moment and celebrate and honor Latino Hispanic Heritage Month. We've had almost weekly presentations, short little moments in the morning for the children to enjoy different dances and celebrations, and then of course activities in the classroom. And Chris is going to help me pull up my ED presentation. I did also just want to acknowledge and add that this has been a challenging time for the Latino immigrant community, and our hearts and minds and thoughts are with both our families and staff in this struggle. And I would be remiss not to mention that this has been a challenging time, and we stand in solidarity with the Latino immigrant community during this time and continue to find ways that we can support staff, children, and our families. So I'm gonna, if it's okay, Daryl, just transition to my ED report.
Of course.
Okay, so I did want to kind of do a quick moment to talk a little bit about where we are as our One Lamb team, and then go through some updates on our strategic plan. So today is affectionately known as Count Day. It is our audit, and our numbers are now locked in. We have 573 students at Lamb. These are our numbers across the grades. This is our largest upper elementary class, and by one student, our largest Lamb class. So we celebrate that, and we're very excited for every student that we have here that's selected to be with us this year. And then this is just a little snapshot. This is actually from October 3rd. And I say that because I think it should be the same, but there may be some small adjustments. It gives you a sense of who our students are and a little bit about their background. And then this is our team. I know I shared this picture in August, but I just really want to think that this is a huge community effort. And Lamb is working. We have children in the building from 7:15 in the morning until 6 p.m. at night. And this year especially, we're making a very concerted effort that our students experience consistency in terms of expectations and how we interact with each other, how we implement our PAWS values, how we work and respond with adults. And we're really excited as we continue to grow out our program. And as I mentioned before, we have 5 upper elementary communities, and that feels very exciting. And most exciting, last week, we launched the Base Alegre program, which I will tell you about more. So these are our strategic plan pillars, and I will go and just do a quick update on each of those. This year, our leadership team and our staff have identified 3 objectives for each pillar. And we really identified those objectives based on 2 things. One was the strategic plan laid out objectives for us that they wanted to accomplish under each of these pillars. And we used our current data from last year to identify the most high leverage point that we wanted to focus on this year. So for our first part of academic excellence and excellent teaching, one of the things that came out in the strategic plan pillar and then in our staff survey was the need to clarify about where Lamb prioritizes what high quality instruction means. And really listening to our staff from the spring survey, it was helping to make sure that we are clear as we combine both Montessori pedagogy, making sure that we're covering the Common Core standards, as well as doing this in 2 languages, and making sure that we honor and celebrate the Latin American culture and heritage that is part of Lamb. So I kind of put that picture of the 3 things coming together. And what we are excited about is this feels like a foundational piece to pull together the work that the School Performance Committee has been doing for the past couple of years, which is working on the scope and sequence and language allocation. And this allows us to get really input and feedback from our teachers and our staff about how we really present the vision of what our highest expectations are around our instruction. The second goal or objective that we're really excited about working with is something that also came up from the School Performance Committee conversations, and that is making sure that we're effectively using data to make decisions and to kind of prioritize what we want to do instructionally. So we're very excited about our partnership with Empower K-12. We have already, as a leadership team, begun to meet with them. It is a train the trainer model. So we are first ensuring that our instructional coaches and coordinators have the information and that it's transparently shared with our teachers, and that the tools that we have help all of us make the best decisions for our students. And our third is we we're very proud of our students' dual language ability and their growth in Spanish. And we did choose to make a pivot from NWEA in Spanish to the assessment known as STAMP. STAMP is a commonly used assessment across the country for dual language schools. And most importantly, it's used by DCI, our middle and high school which the majority of our students attend. And we believe that aligning with STAMP will help us better be able to focus and support our students' development of biliteracy. We're also continuing to work with the Canasales group. This is a highly respected group that has been working with LAM for the past 2 years. They worked with our primary team, our lower elementary team, and this year they're working with our upper elementary team. And we're glad and thrilled to be continue to partnering with them with this year. And then just a high-level snapshot of Aspire. Aspire, as you already know, is the way that the DC Public Charter School Board will be using to evaluate school performances. An update is that the Office of State Superintendent of Education let us know that there will be changes in the DC CAPE program assessment that will roll out next year. So they're affectionately calling it DC CAPE 2.0. And as soon as I continue to have information, I'll keep the board updated how this may impact the Aspire framework. And finally, our Middle States Association accreditation, we have small committees working throughout the school. We want to thank Brian Robinson for helping be part of those committees. And we're working on putting together basically an assessment of where the school is, and then aligning that information will then be moved towards an action plan that can align with potentially our next strategic plan. For the strategic plan pillar of diversity, equity, inclusion, we really believe strongly, and especially in the current context, that it's important to clarify a very clear vision and mission of how we honor diversity in LAM's community, both at the student, staff, and family level. And so if you go to the next slide, our very first step that we want to do, well, first we want to make sure that we're clear on our mission and vision, and we want to make sure that we then include measurable goals so that we feel like we are moving forward on exactly the vision and hope that we have for LAM. So the first step, and that's, sorry, Chris, these are an absolute, the first step is the next slide, is that we're excited to lean into building a committee structure. So we will be building a small committee that we want to represent across all of our staff, both in terms of their position and their background, the years of experience that they have at LAM, to help us hone our vision and our mission and to adopt goals that we feel are the most highest priority for LAM, and to be able to move forward with that. And I look forward to continuing to report on this pillar. And then for rebuilding community, first, we're very excited about the Base Alegre program. Just a quick reminder that Base Alegre is the after-school enrichment classes that's open to all students, both Base students and those students who are not currently enrolled in Base. We have about 50 of the 100 I'm going to check the chat. 50 out of the 150 students who signed up for Base Alegre who do not participate in Base. So it's an interesting piece to know that we are serving students who are not a part of Base, but who are enjoying these enrichment classes. We launched with 3 classes. We have a robotics class, we have a soccer shots class, and we have a Brazilian dance capoeira class. And that's what was happening when this afternoon in LAM, and it was very fun to hear the music and see our students dancing. And the picture below, you can see our students building robots last week. Our second goal is that we really want to continue to lean into how we make robust decision making and stronger community ties through open communication. And we are looking to do that by continuing to build out our committee structure. We hope to have, in addition to our calendar committee, we hope to start our diversity, equity, inclusion committee, and we are open as the staff begins to point to us things that are important for them to address and work together other committees. And finally, we are very excited about the Montessori Positive Discipline Initiative that was started this year. As part of the feedback that we received from our instructional staff last year was a need to be consistent about our expectations for our students. And so we were able to bring in Chip DeLorenzo, who I know I mentioned at the last board meeting, who came and spent 2 days with us as staff. And he's offering a virtual parent workshop in October, and we'll be continuing with him throughout the year, really making sure that our staff has the support and resources and that our families have access to the information so that we can work together to support all of our students being successful. So those were 9 goals that we are very much focused on this year. We really believe that they are based in not only what the strategic plan pillar laid out, but what our staff pointed as the highest points where they would like to see growth in the school. So thank you all for listening. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Jessica? All right, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
All right, so now we'll start with committee reports. Finance Committee, Jerry and Brian.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope everybody's doing well on this lovely October day. So just a few quick updates. Brian will do his normal presentation to go over to it. I will say the first 2 months of the school year are always the quietest for finance, in the sense that not a lot of activity is going on through the profit and loss statements. I will say, though, it is a busy time for the finance team because they are in the middle of an audit as we speak. So I know exactly what that's like. In addition, we will be presenting a resolution for the annual 401k, 403b retirement plan contribution that LAMP makes. This has been a historical practice that they have done every single year. We'll do a little twist this time. We're going to actually, the resolution will say that we'll honor this unless we change it. So that way we don't have to do it every single year. And we'll go through that when we get to that point. So I will let Brian, if you'd like to go ahead and review the presentation. Finances. Thank you.
Yeah, and as Jerry pointed out, this being for through August, it's the quiet time of the year. I'm going to focus a little bit more as we go through just on where we stand relative to some uncertainties and whatnot, and then open up for questions. The next page, Chris, is our standard metrics. We should always expect net income positive and healthy for those first 2 months. We do pay on a 12-month basis, pretty much all of our employees, but most of the employees are 10-month employees. We accrue their full summer earnings as of June 30. So payroll runs light for July and August as an accrued expense. As Jerry noted, audit field work is in progress. I'll simply highlight, I don't know how fully this was discussed at the board retreat, but my understanding is this year we want to do things a little different. We will be inviting our auditors to the next November board meeting for a formal presentation of the draft audit report. Days cash on hand, debt covenants, very healthy. Cash in particular, early in the year is always strong, always lowest at the end of the fiscal year, just based upon the timing. I mentioned that we would be talking about, I would be highlighting changes and uncertainties. I do want to make everybody aware it will not negatively impact LAM, but the city trying to deal with its budgetary issues next year is going to be shifting not to have as much cash funding at the very beginning of the year, spread out more evenly throughout the year. So you won't see quite as high a cash level at this point next year. But the overall year should be running fine. Couple of things I will highlight. Our enrollment, as Jessica was noting in her report, we're actually at 573 as opposed to the 572 that we were looking at when I put this together the other week. But short of it, very much on budget, very comparable to prior year. And we did have a bit of an uptick in per pupil funding from the city this year. Other potential points of concern, there's been a lot of concern as to what's happening on the federal front with federal grants. LAM does not receive significant amounts of funding as a non-Title I school, but we do receive some. I'm simply happy to report that OSSI has allocated all of our standard grants for this year. Something else could go awry, but we're at this point pretty confident in the federal grant funding for the year. Next slide gives a little bit more of a focus on expenses. I will be working on a updated forecast, basically where we see some budgetary changes. One of them I'm going to highlight is simply when we put the budget together, we were doing it as we have the last few years relative to occupational therapy, having that cost in budgeted and direct student expenses. After several years of trying, we've actually hired our own internal occupational therapist for this year. That simply means budget-wise, we're going to be flipping some money out of direct student expense where that consultant had lived into personnel salaries this year. To have some other things we'll monitor and update you, but so far this year, 2 months, not a whole lot going on. Next slide. Cash flow, again, always very positive during the early months of the year. Watch for it to be less so next year, but just as the per student funding next year gets evened out as opposed to heavy front loaded. Next page, balance sheet. This really has not changed. I do not expect significant changes. Our primary asset is our building. On the other side of the balance sheet, our debt against the building, the bonds. I think I have mentioned last meeting, we have heavy accounts receivable primarily relating to the employee retention credit coming out of COVID. Between spring and summer, we did finally receive approval from IRS for that claim. We're just waiting to actually receive it. That will bring down the accounts receivable and improve the cash position even further. Next slide. We'll give a little bit more attention to this next board report when we're actually dealing with the audited numbers, but this gives you the breakdown as it was a couple of weeks ago on our enrollment and how that translates through in terms of funding. And I believe milestones. Look at this, raise questions as you see fit, but this has just been updated to reflect the key due dates coming forward this year. Coming up very near term, our enrollment projections is the first piece of the fiscal 27 budgeting process, and we need to provide that to PCSB later this month, followed by standard reporting the annual audit for 25, et cetera. And we don't need to go through the other slides, but they're there if you have questions about how we calculate some of the major bond requirements. Well, we still have this up. Any questions on any of the pages? If not, we can take that down. And I'm going to talk through the resolution. If anybody wants me to bring it up, we can. Did drop it into the board folder. Jerry had brought up that we have this annual administrative task that we've tried to reword a little bit differently so we don't have to formally go through it each year. But simply ratifying for our 401k administrators and 401k auditors that the board does ratify proceeding as budgeted with a overall 5% contribution to our employee retirement plan, 401k plan. The way the plan is structured, this breaks into two parts. There's a 3% safe harbor contribution. To maintain the safe harbor, that really isn't something we vote on. We have to do it. But we have historically, in addition to that, had a 2% discretionary profit sharing contribution. The numbers between those, 185,000 for the safe harbor, 118,000 for the discretionary profit sharing. So in the neighborhood of $300,000 total. Again, this was budgeted for fiscal 25 and is reflected in the fiscal 25 numbers that you saw at the last board meeting and will be reflected in the audited financials when we have those. The part we added was simply the board hereby approves continuation of the annual 3%, 2% contributions until taking action to change this. So I guess we just need I don't know if I'm out of place. I can say the finance committee did put forward that this be brought to the board for ratification vote. So I'll leave it to you board members to move and vote as you see fit with that. Or any questions?
Yeah, that's gonna be my first question. Does anybody have any questions about that? By the way, I just want to say that what we're doing, that we set the standard and then just change it when we need to, is actually a standard practice. I don't want to make it sound like it's something that we're doing out of the ordinary. Most plans set it, and then if there's a change, then they come back and do that. So I'll entertain if anybody has any questions. Okay, well then I will make a motion to adopt the resolution for the 403B contributions as stated in the document.
Second.
Thanks for that, Jerry. Is anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Jerry and Brian, that's it for finance? Okay, great.
As I said, just look forward to the auditor presentation for the next board meeting. That'll be a little bit different from what we've done in the past and the usual board meetings.
All right, thank you, Brian. Next up is the governance committee.
I think the key item on our agenda, you might hold the unlock to Fernando, which is where we are on the polling around our newest member of the board.
We had well, we ran the poll last week and we had 12. No, I'm sorry. Everybody but positive, but we had one abstention. But we had more than half, which is what we need.
But they were comfortable approving the vote by email. I'm trying to figure out if we should vote again, and maybe we just do to make things clean.
I think that we should vote again. Yeah, just
Let's
in
do it.
case.
We got everyone here.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
these faces smiling back at me. All right, that's great. So, Derek Norville Bowie, and I'm really excited about my short-term memory that I just pulled that up immediately without recall. Is the newest candidate for the Board of Trustees. We were quite delighted with Derek when we interviewed him because of his clearly sort of genuine and authentic passion and alignment with Lamb's mission. He is the child of first generation immigrants. Grew up in a situation where he wished he had more access to Spanish speaking schools so that he could have a deeper and broader relationship with his grandparents. And he spoke to us quite a bit about this. And he said he hadn't realized places like Lamb existed. And he was just really delighted by the institution, by the opportunity to serve. He has a background as an educator, doing work aligned with education. And at this time, he works in consultancies for state ed programs and supporting those. So I would love if Celeste or El Shaddai has anything else to add about him. I invite you to share it now. I'm quite certain the write-up that we sent around was more thorough than the voiceover that I just did. Also have to take any questions. I think he ran really well. Brings a nice set of skill sets.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Amanda and the governance team? Amanda, I'll just add, that was a beautiful intro. Thank you for sharing that.
I didn't hit very heavy on his professional achievements, which are obviously there. He will be a talented contributor, but it's really fun to interview someone who has just decided that, you know, Lamb is something real special that they want to be a part of no matter what. That's pretty cool. So then I would ask for a move to vote, or I will move to vote and ask for a second.
Second.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Jerry. So we're going to do a roll call, which I think we typically do for these types of votes.
Okay,
Fernando?
I
Thank
can go forward. Yeah, I mean, as Amanda was saying, actually we have all the information from Derek that we shared last week. So and just to complement all the information that you had. And okay, so just to start a clean slate, we will have the vote again today. Okay, we start. Amanda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Gerardo,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Sharif,
Yes.
James,
Hi. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay.
But we didn't hear your vote.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. Jonathan,
Yes.
Mayura,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Celeste.
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Am I missing anyone? I think we're not. So it's unanimous. It is an unanimous vote. So yes from everyone.
Motion passes. Thank you again to Amanda and the governance committee for all your work, not just with Derek, but for also bringing in Jim and Jonathan, and for that matter, everyone else who you brought in over the last, I guess, 12 months at this point. Appreciate your work. Did you all have anything else?
Sorry, I think by now I could hit the mute button. I don't believe we have anything further at this time. Celeste is shaking her head. That's great. Thank you.
All right, Celeste and the Operations Committee, which, by the way, I think, Celeste, correct me if I'm wrong, this is your first meeting as the chair? Is that right? First board meeting as chair?
I think this is it.
Okay, all right, yes. Thank you again for saying yes. We're excited to have you lead that committee.
No problem. It's an easy job to take on because this is a very strong committee. So, which I was able to see, we had our first committee meeting, but also we're able to get together at the board retreat. So I think that in terms of kicking off the school year, maybe where I will share with the board is that we have looked into defining really the 3 priorities for the year. So of course, one is the base model, since last year was spent on talking through different alternatives for how we want to operate base. And so one area we'll be looking at this year is really just monitoring how that pilot is going with the hybrid model that was adopted. The second one continues to be a conversation around enrollment and optimizing the space. And then the third one on longer term funding questions and strategies around outreach. So just a couple comments on each one. When it comes to base, our first committee meeting that we had this school year was actually on the eve of the launch of Base Alegre. So it was great to hear an update from Jessica today in her report. And I think that really what we talked about as a group is just looking to the data and just monitoring how the program, especially split into this hybrid model, kind of how that will go throughout the year. So one question that we had, which Jessica spoke to this data point a little bit earlier, but was on seeing if this model is offering more, is opening up more opportunities for additional students beyond what can be in the traditional base structure. And then there's some other questions kind of around managing space and transitions, because there's obviously with 2 types of models occurring simultaneously, there's just a lot more kind of operational issues with that. In terms of the other point I'll mention is, and we don't have a lot to share with you today, but we will be looking as a committee at more on taking a more strategic, longer term view on funding. I know this is something that has been brought up in board discussions for some time. So looking at sort of fundraising outreach strategies and connecting that with longer term goals. So hoping to work a lot with Finance Committee on that as well. And then I guess, Jessica, remind me, are we running through an operations dashboard or brief presentation from here? Because then I think I will pass it over. Otherwise, just a comment on that we were able to see sort of a presentation from Mr. Juan and his team, and just we're really impressed to see all the work that was done in setting up and launching a really smooth start to the school year. So just wanted to call that out for not only the preparation that led to the opening of the school this year, but also a lot of work that has gone into planning out operations for the rest of the school year. So a lot of kind of the front work done, which has been interesting to learn about. So I'm not sure if there is an operations dashboard or report, or if that is kind of our summary on operations. And of course, anybody else from the operations committee, if there's something I'm missing, please chime in.
Does anyone have any questions or comments for Celeste? And the committee, sorry. All right, thank you, operations. Last but not least, school performance committee. Brian.
So we had our first meeting about a month ago, or a little less than a month ago. So not a ton more to add than what Jessica shared earlier, which is just around some early data. We've just been a good portion of our meeting talking about how LAM is supporting economically disadvantaged students who are scoring significantly lower than other students at LAM. And we just talked about some of the resources that are already being provided to that group of students, and also how leveraging the relationship with Empower K-12 to not just have data, have better data, but to make that data more actionable. How LAM staff can better support those students and all students to be successful. So that was kind of the main topic of conversation at our last meeting. And I know at the retreat, I was not able to attend, but I know one thing that came out of that meeting was this have an additional meeting, have additional meetings in between our regularly scheduled SPC meetings to really dig into the data more. At our current meetings, there just isn't enough time in the agenda to really dig into the data the way that folks would like, and so I know that that's something that we are planning to do going forward. Not sure there's anything that El Shaddai or Myra might add to that part of this report. The only other thing I would bring up is the accreditation work that we're doing as part of LAM. We've had like 2 meetings so far as a committee, as a larger committee, and then all the subcommittees, I believe, have had their first meeting so far, and that work is underway to get the different aspects of the accreditation package together. I do know that there's a governance subcommittee, and there is a role for a board member to play on that committee. There's not been one that has stepped up so far, and so if there is one that would like to, that has the extra capacity, I don't think it's a huge lift, but the work is going forward because it has to. But if there's someone who's interested in the role for that, reach out to me and or Sebastian, who's leading that work for us. Yeah, I think that's it. Mayura, El Shaddai, anything you want to add? Otherwise, turn it back over. No, I
I
think
don't
you
have
covered it.
Mhm.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you to the SPC committee. All right, I'm looking at the time, and I'm also smiling because we're about to set yet another record. And I have mixed feelings about that because I feel like, especially on very nice days like this, people are like, okay, let's get off this call so we can go and enjoy the nice weather. All right. Does anyone have any questions for SPC? Of course not. All right. Okay. So moving on to For the Love of Lamb. Fernando, I see you smiling. Looks like you want to say something.
No, Amanda actually, she raised her hand.
Oh yeah, y'all. You know you don't have to raise your hand for this. Just.
Oh, really? Okay. I think
Oh yeah,
Fernando
let the
was
love,
smiling
let the love,
because
let
he
the love
realized
overflow. Yes.
I learned how to be polite on a conference call all of a sudden. I wanted to share, I was able to go to our International Day Fair. That's what we called it, right, Jessica? This last weekend.
The fall festival.
Fall Festival. Okay, sorry, I get that confused with the spring event. Okay, so the Lamb's Fall Festival. I mean, the weather was glorious. The setup by the PTO was the best run one I'd seen in my time there. They had these kids on a system executing their fun. It was really quite something. Very Montessori, probably actually. Really beautiful. And the children just had an amazing time. There were delightful food trucks and really good swag for all the kids. It was just lovely. It was great vibes and really, really good community. So quite the inspiration. You attend something like that and you just feel very, very blessed to be part of this group for sure. So part of the community.
I will echo that. I took my kids to the fall festival as well, and they had a great time. I saw Celeste and El Shaddai, and it was good to get a sense of the community and see the students and see parents and families. And it was a great Saturday morning activity for my family too. So I also just wanted to shout out everyone who had a role in planning and putting on the CEO or the board retreat, which I also, as a new board member, it was like perfect timing for onboarding to get to know everyone in person. I feel like those in-person spaces are great, but I also know that there's a lot of work behind the scenes to put that together. So thank you. And I found it to be just a really, really valuable space.
I just want to jump in and give a huge shout out to the entire LAM team. We did the first 6 weeks of school. And, you think about setting up for the whole school year in those first 6 weeks when you think about the routines and the ways that you want to work together. And we've had a really strong start, and that every person at LAM plays a part of that. So I just want to give a real shout out to the entire staff who are working hard and making LAM a special place.
All right, anyone else? Well, thank you, Amanda and Jim and Jessica. Did I miss anyone else who shared? Okay. Thank you to the three of you, and thank you everyone for being on this call. Chris, I need to send you.
He's frozen, right?
Yes, he's frozen.
He's just really messing with us right before the end of the meeting. He was just about to end the meeting, right? All right. By the power vested in me as the vice chair of the Land Board of Trustees. Oh, there he's back. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry everyone. Chris, could you keep this line open for like 2 minutes or switch to make me moderator?
I will make you the owner. Hold on.
For the owner? Okay. Yeah, we'll just need it open for like 2 minutes. Everyone who's not a board member, if you could go ahead and log off at this time. Thank you for joining. Particularly LAM staff members. I know these board meetings make for a long day for you, and also to any parents or community members who are on this call.
Daryl, you need to accept being the host, I think, on your computer.
Say it again.
You need to accept being the host. I changed, you're the host now, but I see you're connected on, I think, on your phone and on the computer.
So my computer died. That's why I abruptly lost everyone. Yeah.
So did you get, okay, let me see, hold on.
Yeah. So you may have sent it there and I didn't get it there. Okay,
Okay,
now
how about-
yes, I'm the host. Okay, Chris, so we're good.
Yeah, let me just stop the recording,
Okay.
or actually you have to.
How do I do that? I know that's a silly question. Do I just click on this button that says record, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I assume that it's still recording. I see it's
Yeah. Oh, okay, here it is. Let's see. What do I need to tap on, Chris?
It should just like stop recording. Well, I can take back the controls and stop it.
Oh, okay, yeah, thanks. That would be great. Because I don't see that button, and I'm afraid that I'm going to press something that's going to do something other than stop the recording and